You know, there's a guy on my Facebook I've known since high school. We were really good friends for a really long time. But around the time of COVID, it's funny. I've taken stock in a lot of my relationships, in a lot of, you know, the relationships, the way, the rules that have always been in place with the relationships that I have, and where those rules came from, and how I was programmed this way to begin with. And I look at my mother, and I look at my father, I look at my family, I look at the way that we all treat each other and the way that I was treated. And it makes sense when you look at like why I would have relationships, one-sided relationships with people, where where what they need matters. As long as I'm giving what you need, then everything's good. What's up? What's going on? What's going on, Karen? How are you? And I think, so this guy, though one of the nicer of the group of us that we were, definitely very selfish. Arabic guy, Chaldean, Christian, whatever. Palestinian, actually. And, he's... he's always had that attitude of a firstborn, Middle Eastern, Greek, that whole region. The firstborn son is always, like, special. Like, it's just, they get treated in ways that don't quite make sense. And they think that's how the world works. And so he and I, me being the only child, like, dude, I don't care what kind of shit you got going on, and mine's worse. Like, that was always we always had a conflict in that department. So, prior to COVID, I had been having issues because I just, this has been a really long journey, a long process, and I believe I'm growing and getting better. And so when I start taking stock of things and looking at things the way that I did and do, our relationship doesn't quite cut it anymore. And so around COVID, when I'm getting called crazy because I'm calling the whole thing out. I never fell for COVID even a little bit. And the proof is in the pudding. You can easily go look. I never needed to be told not to take the thing. I never needed, some truth or guidance. To me, that shit never made sense to begin with. And so recently, let's read the conversation. Recently, he's been, he reached out the other day, out of the blue, he reaches out. And he says, literally, LOL, random out of the blue comment, there needs to be a song titled Zio Piggies in the Horror of Israel Lie. Which is interesting, because it's like, so clearly you know what I do, and yet there's never been any support whatsoever. How does that work? You think I should write a song like that? Like, I said, we've been making those conspiracy songs for years. He said, I like the title Ziopig, lol. I said Zionism is a distraction. It's all about the J's. Just like it's not the deep state, it's the government we can see. They just want us to blame the invisible deep state. He says, what do you think about all these? That was like, that was on the first. So then more time, he says, so what do you think about all these drones in New Jersey, LMAO? Fucking weird ass world we live in. I already started feed my plants Brondo. I already started feed my plants Brondo. Get it? You know, Brondo has electrolytes. I said, as long as we aren't focused on the genocide and these POSJs. He said, well, they've been denying genocide for years, lol. It's not like it started 10-7, in spite of what most dumb Americans think. Still fucking weird. That shit in the sky in NJ happened around Luigi the Uniblower murderer, lol. Local government can't even get answers. Fucking weird shit. I said, if you think it's aliens, you don't think it's us/them. They give us the answers before we have the questions. Simple. Drones are old technology, and we are way behind what they actually have. He says, I don't think it's aliens. The videos I've seen definitely look like they are man-made. Not sure the end goal. It's just weird. It's obvious more than the usual obvious. They aren't telling us something. Aircrafts don't just enter federally controlled air without permission, and the government being nonchalant about it. They could, at the very least, come up with some BS like they are military exercises or something. But they don't want us to believe in military. They want us to think it's aliens. That's what the distraction is. I said, you definitely believe a lot more than you should. But we are on completely different pages with that. So the conversation is pointless. You believe the parts you like, and I think it's all BS. Remember, I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. Even though everything I've said for years, the stuff that made me crazy, has either come true or is coming true. Why do you think I'm censored? But you probably don't think that way. And again, I'm just crazy. Hope you're looking forward to another lockdown and the Greater Israel Project, because your buddy Trump is about to fuck everything up. And that's what it is, right? That's what all of this is about. And the air world actually does anything for Gaza. It's true. But it's also because they can't. And this is that shit that like most people just don't understand. You know, when you have to know the narrative before you talk about it like this. And people just don't understand that. I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying people don't. People don't understand what the Abraham Accords were. The reason why you're not seeing any action to help Israel, or to help the Palestinians, is because everybody's locked into these fucking contracts. Can I explain the narrative? I mean, which one? There's the real simple one, that the Jays control the world, and everything else that you focus on is just a distraction they give you. So until we, Goyim, unite and overthrow the Jays that control the narrative, it doesn't matter what the narrative is. It's whatever they want it to be. And that's you know, the rest of the shit I don't care about. The rest of the shit is all what they give us. You know, the thing I want to talk about is the thing we're not allowed to talk about. Why would I talk about anything else? There are countless pages out there talking about every conspiracy theory you can think of. The shape of the earth, vaccines, political, Trump this, Kamala that, whatever, Biden, whatever. You know, Hollywood pedo stuff. I mean, it's everything. Everything is well talked about. And it's allowed to be. A lot of the people that talk about those things, like your Alex Joneses, of course the POS, the piece of shit Jays like Alex Jones. He's one of them. He's one of them. He admitted it on air. I am Jewish. But I mean, it's like how come you have to be told that the multi-millionaire that's allowed to be on social media and all that shit, that he's, controlled opposition. We all know about controlled opposition. It's weird how we all know what it is, but then we never like put it to it. Oh, that guy, like Anomaly, who's allowed to have 2 million plus followers on Facebook. Oh yeah, he's telling the truth, isn't he? The thing is, a lot of the people don't even know that they're controlled opposition. As long as Anomaly, he's a paid Fox News analyst. He's obviously a part of it. But a lot of people, they don't even know what they're doing. A lot of people think they're doing the right thing while they're pushing God. All we need is Jesus. You can believe all the best in the world you want. If you're pushing Jesus, you're fucking controlled opposition. I had my neighbor yesterday say to me, I know you've been saying for years it's the Jays, and I tried not to believe you, but I said, but every time you go to try to prove it wrong, you actually prove it even more right. And she's like, yeah, it's clearly them. And it's like, I can proudly say that I've been standing on this hill, demanding a challenge for decades. Well, coming up on decades, for over a decade. And I didn't fully make the switch. Like, I can say that January of 2020 was a significant turning point for me. It's not when I made that, when I first saw it. No, go look at our songs. www.the-bilderberg, group.com. The link will be in the description when the video's over. We've been writing songs for years, calling things out, being clever about it, but sort of still following the rules, right? That we're not allowed to actually say this or say that. So we didn't. But in January of 2020, I announced it. Like, all right, I'm done talking about chemtrails all the time and Illuminatis and shit like that. Like, not saying I don't believe them. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to say more than Matt Landman. I'm not going to be better at it than Matt Landman or any number of chemtrail people. So fuck it, go watch those guys. You want to talk about chemtrails? Go watch those guys. I'll show them to you here and there, but that's not going to be my main focus. And it even shows you like how I was still in that brainwashed loop at the time, because I was saying, by the way, if you're watching, like, share, or sub. I was saying that we need to cut off Israel. That was my mission statement, is to cut off Israel and use that money to fund pedo hunter programs here in the United States. And do I believe that those programs will need $3.8 billion a year? No. Maybe to get going and all that, but once it gets running and going well, and we start eliminating those people, then those numbers are going to fall. And so that money can then be used for other things like fixing the roads or, you know, women's shelters and homeless shelters and all that shit. Veterans help. And, you know, I mean, if you think it's better that we give money to Israel to murder people, drop bombs on them and shit, that's better than providing adequate care for all of our veterans? You really think that's a good thing? I guess it's all just really, really, really strange. It's all really strange to watch how this all plays out. You know, I mean, I just, you know, let's just say you think you're a good person, right? You walk around telling everybody you're a good person. I'm a good person. I do good things. I'm a J, but I'm a good person. You can't be a good person. If you believe in Jism or Christianity, you cannot be a good person. Islam, you can't be a good person. You're believing in something that is going to that you know, ostracizes those that don't. And in a lot of cases, suggests subjugating them or murderizing them. A worldwide program if we all stop buying their daily bread. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, no doubt. But one of the ways they've tricked the truther community is they've associated truther revolution with you know, a really negative idea of like going backwards. You know, we need to go, everybody needs to grow their own food and all. Fuck that. I'm no farmer. I have no desire to grow all of my own food. I like having a garden, no doubt. Love going in the back and plucking a tomato and all that shit, no doubt about it. I also love going to the grocery store. That's progress is not regressing to a point, and that's what they constantly sort of tell us is that, you know, like how many times have you seen that meme where it shows that like cabin way out in the middle of the woods, and it's like, would you stay here for blah blah blah, or this is all I need or something like that. And I always laugh at those when they're memes on Facebook. Yet you're talking about all you need is a life out in the middle of the woods with nobody. Bullshit. Bullshit. You know, the amount of people involved in, you know, I'm drinking some tea. My tea is water, tea bags, sugar, and cream that I, you know, kept in the fridge. All of everything that goes into me having that tea, from the energy to keep the fridge cold, to the energy to heat the stove, you know, to, you know, all these lines that come in, to where this tea comes from, put into these little fucking sacks. Who made the sack? Who made the string that goes on the sack? The little fucking sticky thing that sticks it to it and shit. Who did all that? Where'd all that come from? Each little piece of that has, like, the tea bag manufacturers. Well, then you go, okay, so again, we have the box. We have the tea satchels, the strings, the sticky stuff. All that stuff then, okay, so the sticky stuff has to be made from another company that uses this material, that material, that material. To get all those materials together, it requires the gas on this car and the this driver doing this. And like, it's all a huge fucking deal. You just don't realize how much goes into your everyday nothing life. You know, for me to be able to do this, hundreds, thousands of people are involved in me doing that. Like it's one of these things where, you know, like I have no desire to lose any of that. I don't know how that works. I always ask you, if I dropped you off in the woods with a hammer and some nails, maybe a knife, how long do you think it would take for you to build me a cell phone network? I don't know how many of you could actually do that, could you? 5 likes, I don't know how many shares, but 11 viewers, huh? That's what we're doing today, YouTube? Good to know. Good to know. So you don't, this whole notion of you know, going backwards, that's part of the scam. That's part of the policing mechanism. You know, the average person thinks, wait, you want to go back to a different, you want me to grow my own food? Fuck no. It's hot outside. You want me to not have air conditioning? Are you crazy? It's cold outside. You want me to not have my heat on? What are you, crazy? We just don't think about how much truly goes into all of it. And, you know, that's not the progress. That's not the revolt we need. I do agree that in a revolution, there is going to be some sort of disruption. Everyday life is going to be affected. It's going to be changed. But that's what, it's like when my wife used to get mad at me all the time. Every time you take the pills, you get all fucked up. Like, yeah, that's what I'm taking the pills for. If I was taking the pills and they weren't fucking me up, well, that'd be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? But like, it's like Israel isn't letting the aid trucks in to help the people that they just spent all that time, energy, money, you know, munitions, all that shit. Israel has the, yes sir, biggest murder boner you can have. Why are people surprised when they don't let the aid trucks come in and essentially fuck up their work? I mean, that's not, you're just not thinking about things. The rules of warfare state that after you kill people, you have to let trucks come in to help those people. What? Like, this whole shit show that they're giving us is just, it's so insulting. It's just insulting. You know, the United States, we just, you know, this is a big deal, and we'd really like it if Israel would stop, you know, shooting so indiscriminately. Well, why don't we stop giving Israel the weapons? Oh, we can't do that. No, bro. No, that can't happen, bro. Yeah, rules of war really followed. Yes. I think the rules of war are followed. Like, this, you want to argue so bad, you're not even hearing what's being said. You're just hearing pieces of it. Like, the concept, the whole idea that there are rules to warfare shows you that there is a one world government. Because let me be Saddam Hussein and, let nukes be real. And knowing that the U.S. is closing in on me, while also knowing how poorly defended the United States seems to be. Anytime there are drones flying around and we just don't know what's going on. We just don't know. Oh, all these drones keep appearing. I mean, 9/11 should show you exactly. They succeeded 3 out of 4 times. According to the official narrative. That's if you believe the narrative. Obviously, the narrative is bullshit. But you would think the biggest bad boy on the continent or on the world would have had better defense capabilities on 9/11. Well, the thing is, we were running training exercises at the time, so people were confused on whether the planes were real because they just happened to be running training exercises simulating the exact same thing. I mean, so yeah, right. So they didn't know that it was whether it was real or fake, and until it was too late. Yeah, well, what about Norman Mineta? What about Norman Mineta? Like it's just so stupid. I think the craziest thing about the Earth shape argument is how mad it makes people that believe in the ball. It is so strange how we are programmed to respond with that like negative fear knee-jerk reaction. Everybody acts like they have, they have stocks in roundearth.com, and you know everybody that changes their mind costs them money or some shit. People act like fucking lunatics. How does bro explain the curvature of the earth? What curvature? Like, this is where, again, we're just stupid, right? It's 2024, supposedly. 2024, the fact that there's even an argument shows you something is up. It's just that simple. We would know. Like there wouldn't be a whole bunch of things that exist that make people question it. Because it's not like it's just dumb people questioning things. Usually it's the people that are smart enough to question religion, smart enough to question, politics and shit like that. But it's funny too, because you would think Christians would jump all over it, and they don't. For some weird reason, it's like they don't know their Bible. That's one reason, but I mean, literally, one time I had the Jehovah's come by. These are the people that believe in their shit so much that they will go door to door, getting the door slammed in their face 99% of the time. They'll go door to door trying to recruit people into their system, a system that only has 144,000 spots available. And you would think, man, there's been a lot of Jehovah's since Jehovah's Witness began. Shouldn't those spots all be gone by now? But those people believe that shit so much they'll go get the door slammed in their face, right? So you would think you believe it that much, you know it, right? I had him set up a table out front. I had some waters waiting for him. And I basically begged him, like, please talk to me. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know why you think this way, because, I'm not motivated by anything to go door to door, get the door slammed in my face every day. Nothing motivates me like that, or to do that. So I'd like to know what it's all about. And as we got to talking, I mean, it's embarrassing, because one of them was this, 50 or so year old black man who was clearly gay. Like, he was clearly gay, and his wife, with whom they had a child, was clearly gay. Like, they were what? It's like, how is it possible? How is it possible that Well, I mean, I guess if you're a gay dude who's not willing to be gay, having a butch sort of lesbian chick is the closest you're gonna come, right? And if you're a butch sort of lesbian chick and you're not willing to be that, then having an effeminate, you know, an effeminate kind of gay dude would probably be the way you would, I guess. I can't wrap my head around it. I can't wrap my head around wanting to believe in something so bad that it overrides my natural sexual instincts and whatnot. Like that just does not compute.
Because those people are then brainwashed to believe that they're born bad, they're
Right.
born broken, there's something wrong.
Oh, they're miserable.
And my thing is, well,
No, I'm not miserable. I'm super happy. Look at me, I'm happy. I like this. I'm super happy.
but I didn't. God's that flawed? I didn't think God was that flawed to make a broken human.
Well, no, God only gives you what you can handle, I guess. But the guy was like, he would say things like, well, yeah, well, I was, you know, in my younger days, I was pretty wild myself. You know, I wasn't born into this, so I came to it after some understanding, and you just thinking like he's basically admitting that he's probably had some gay interaction in his life. And then it was like it reminded me of Michael Jackson and Priscilla Presley. Remember when they would kiss on TV, like this forced look? I'm not how that weird kiss would look. It would never look right. That's what when his wife walked up and he was like, "Hello, dear," and they did like the little side hug and kiss. It just looked so forced. And they had a kid, so you just think like, how did that ever happen? But
Procreation.
right.
That's all they.
But that it was he was the like leader, and then he had some 19 or 20-year-old young black guy with him that was like the muscle. But you had like multiple generations represented between these two. And you would think like these are two firm believers, so much so they would go door to door. And then there's me. They together should be able to override my dumbass, especially if they were to send a quick prayer up and ask for a little bit of extra, you know, God favor.
Can you help us guide this lost sheep?
Right. We've had run-ins with this guy before, so can you please? He said he's going to be nice to us this time, so we're going to give him a chance. And I was very nice to him. But at one point I bring up firmament. The firmament. And they're both like, what? And I'm like, the firmament, you know, the first thing God does after he turns on the light. And finally, one of them, the younger guy, of course, looks it up real quick and he's like, oh, wow. Firmament appears 17 times in the Bible. And I said, yeah, you'd think it'd be something you'd fucking know. And it was just like, you know, you could see that they were just falling apart and they just couldn't. Like, it was just interesting to watch these, but to think like, you don't even know the first thing your God does and you're going door to door. Shouldn't you be more well-versed than that? I shouldn't be able to bring up something simple like the firmament and you've never heard that shit before. Arguing with me like, that's not in the Bible. Like, dude, yeah, it fucking is. But this is also the guy that I said, okay, so now you also believe in the Noah's Ark story, right? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, so you believe that Arabic people, one Arabic family, procreating, made Asians and white people and Eskimos, and you're black. How did the Arabs make the black guy?
Yeah, that was.
And he was like, well, you know what happens when relatives have relations? And I was like, wait. Are you saying that you believe black people are the genetic abomination, the result of fathers and daughters or cousins, whatever, or you believe that inbreeding, Arabs inbreeding, is what made black people, and that they happen to make two of them, put them in little boats and send them over to Africa, where they somehow then repopulated all of Africa? Like, what? Do you not understand how stupid all of that is?
How self-deprecating that is.
Oh yeah, totally. But at least he's self-deprecating equally, because he did admit that they were Arabic, so that would mean whites, blacks, Eskimos. I mean, the whole Native American thing. So they made a boy and a girl Native American, put them in boats, shipped them across the ocean, so they could repopulate the Americas that they didn't know existed. Because that fucking makes sense. Like, to me, when it comes to Noah's Ark, everybody...
And where did this occur?
Everybody loves to talk about how ridiculous Noah's Ark is. The beginning part. How'd the animals all get there? How'd they eat? How they didn't eat each other? Blah, 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 blah. But to me, the aftermath is just so much more interesting. So at what point did... So the lions and the gazelle...
All right, you have to count to 10 before you start chasing those gazelles.
No, it's not a count to 10. They have to... They would have to get to Africa first. Probably helping each other here. Giving them boosts and shit up things they can't climb. But they'd have to get to Africa first. And then what? The lions just sat there eating what? While they waited for the gazelle to populate enough that they weren't wiped out within the first 5 minutes. Because you'd think as soon as they got to Africa, the lions would be like, well, that was a long trip. Oh shit, what are we going to eat now? But the gazelle would have to have multiple generations of gazelle before the lions would be able to start hunting again. So how did that work?
They ate grass.
Well, the Bible, the religious people love to talk about manna, this magical substance that's what the animals ate on the boat.
Yeah, because bread's really good for animals.
No, manna. It's not bread. It's
unleavened bread.
No, it's not even unleavened bread. It's a substance. We don't know what manna was. We don't even, it was like, there's manna. They didn't make manna. It just, there it is. We got some manna. Oh,
Is it the body of Christ?
you want some manna? You want some manna. Manna was just some stuff. So did the lions have a picnic basket in their jowls as they were walking along full of manna? We have to ration this, Yeah, I know, but I'm really hungry. Yeah, well, who knows how long it's going to take those gazelle to get fucking going again. I know, lazy ass gazelle.
Would you guys start fucking already?
Hey, what happens when the gazelle don't like each other? I mean, it's just two of them. I was just going to say, what happens then? What happens if they go to different parts of the fucking Serengeti?
I identify as a child.
How do we know that animals aren't walking around going, I identify as a person? And the other lions are like, you're not a fucking person. And he's like, no, call me Steve. Roar. Oh. When the flood happened, it wasn't just water from the heavens. It came from the ground. That's what the Bible said with cause of the continental divide. Yeah, that's what the Bible says. Where does the Bible say that? Where does the Bible mention the continental divide? I mean, the Bible is dumb nonsense. I love when people try to justify
You're gonna love it.
the Bible or Christianity with, well, the Bible says. What about anything else?
So the only station I could find all Christmas music on is a Christian station, and they're playing great Christmas music. But
That's
in between the
surprising.
songs, they talk about Jesus and God.
1043 should be playing Christmas music
It's
by now.
1027.
Yeah, I know. But 1043 should be.
So, listening to the rhetoric in between the songs, these people calling in with their miracle stories, and
Every single miracle story.
fucking shit you've ever heard.
Every single miracle story is super easily explained.
No, this lady, she was on drugs, and the radio announcer knew this lady personally. And because of Jesus, her life turned around. So she had to have her friend tell her story on the radio. She had kids, and she lost her kids due to her addiction and her, abusive husband. And so she was living on a bench somewhere and had hit rock bottom. And to God and throw her arms up, put it all in Jesus' hands. And the next day, Jesus provided. The neighbors started bringing her gift cards and clothing and food, and she finally got a place of her own. And now she's clean and sober, and has nothing. She said nothing to, because the lady said, "I'm so proud of you." She said nothing to do with me. It was all Jesus. I had nothing to do with this. I have my kids back now, and it's all because of Jesus.
Now, how is it that as a society we go, okay, well,
and people
you're
are
not,
clapping
you're
in the radio station.
right,
Yay!
you're crazy, right? You're crazy. Because if I were to say the same thing about Mystical Steve, the guy I believe in, everybody would lock me up. But
but did he do good in this?
But it's just so nuts. It's so fucking nuts to think that like, first of all, that we just believe this story. We just know, like, this story, it just, she's telling the truth. The one thing I know about Christians is they never lie. But this notion that, like, it's not like, holy shit, lady, you stopped, you were on a park bench, and you did all that? No, but even more so, why would I ever want to believe
Do you know how
in
hard
a
it is to get your kids back after they've been taken from you for drugs?
Why would I ever
Jesus?
ever want to believe in a Jesus, believe in a God that isn't going to help somebody until
They say you're the best.
I give all my responsibility and accountability over to you. Why would I ever want to believe in that? Like, what about all the people that don't know about you that need your help? What about all the people that, did pray to you and you didn't help, so they lost their faith?
Oh, lots of those. I know lots of those.
What happened to, like, what makes the God decide that it's going to help? And at the more than anything, I don't like, oh, the poor lady did drugs and lost her kids and shit. That really sucks. I feel for you. Did you know that the Israelis are dropping fucking bombs on women and children day and night since October 7th? Like, they really ramped it up. Like, it had always been happening. They've always been killing the Palestinians. But since October 7th of 2023, they really, really started doing it. And all of these women and children, because all the men have already been killed or imprisoned, taken hostage. What the fuck? Must be that other shit in there. Jesus Christ.
He's
Like,
stretchy.
yeah. I mean, this is that kind of shit where it's just, People don't like talking about this part. I don't care about your own personal shit. If you put yourself in a really bad, dumb position, I mean, even still, like even that story, the lady's neighbors, like, why were they waiting to help this woman? She's on a bench. She's probably needed help for a long time. No. I don't know. I don't know. Nick, come here. I'll go look. You stay down here. What's wrong with you? And I just told you it's not up there. Yeah, it's not up there, dude. Okay, well, I don't know where it is. Did you check your room? His charger? He hasn't even checked his room yet. I mean, it's so... You know, when you look at religion and what it does, I swear we used to have the best example living next door, right? You know, when the city decided it was going to extort, no, for the like 28th time, when the city decided it was going to extort the citizens and charge people $250 per slab per square of sidewalk that they replaced. We didn't, as people, unify as one loud voice and say, we refuse to pay this. This is not ours. Like, this is what our taxes go for. What do you mean? Like, we're not paying this. Instead of doing that, people like Ginger, my old neighbor, would go in her house and just pray. And because she believes that it's, it fucking does something, she then feels good about herself, that she believes she's actually combating the problem. She believes she's actually doing something to try to make this situation right. The problem is, not enough of us are praying for it. I don't want to believe in the God that would look down and be like, oh,
only 5 of you. I need
only 5
7.
of you. Yeah, like more like 95% of you, huh? Nope, not enough. I know you're on that fixed income, Ginger, and you can't afford it, but hey, you know what? How about we fix your driveway too, huh? Like, fucking crazy. Romans 1:18, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, this is stupid. That's the kind that guy was like, I know this'll get him. I'm gonna quote this Bible verse because that's gonna get him. Are you kidding me? The wrath of God. You know? I hope my kids don't be good people and do what they're supposed to do because they fear the wrath of their father. I want them to do it because it's the right thing to do. And at the end of the day, the worst they're going to get is, disappointment. We're going to be really disappointed in them. They're going to get yelled at for a little while. Which they don't have to sit there and be quiet. They're allowed to have a say in the argument and everything like that. And granted, that's been a difficult road. You don't just know how to do that. That takes years of honing that and pushing the limits and getting in trouble for pushing the limits and, all those things before you really learn how to have a decent argument. Imagine if you've been getting spanked your whole life and then they just decided to start talking to you at 13, 14. Wouldn't that be fucking weird? God isn't real. Thank you. I love, again, look at all the stupid people that are just saying stupid things because I'm hurting their feelings, right? They're trying to hurt my feelings by saying mean things because what I'm saying is hurting their feelings. They're stupid that believes in these things that we're talking about. And because they can't actually, do what I'm doing to me, like what I'm doing to them, they can't do to me. They just go, oh, well, you're bad. You're bird and you're tweaking. And, that's what it is. You'd think that would sort of be to your advantage, wouldn't it? If I'm all fucked up and crazy.
They should be able to trip you up all kinds of ways.
Right. Well, I mean, why would you even care? Who's going to watch somebody that's all fucked up and crazy talking about the Jays, talking about religion, talking about politics, day after day after day, because they're wrong and you don't like it? I don't even get it. Even there was a woman that I watched a few years back, and she used to say, my name is blah, blah, blah. I am the president of the United States. I deposed Donald Trump. And she used to go on this little rant all the time. And it was nuts. And I still wasn't like, oh, your hair is stupid. Or, oh, I don't like your outfit. Or, oh, you must be on drugs. I would ask her questions all the time. I would point out things that, like, I just can't. The idea of just sitting there and making fun of someone. I don't know, maybe that's just me or age or I don't know. But to sit there and like let's say somebody was talking or whatever. And they were giving some sort of speech. And I'm just going to stand up and start talking. Well, I want to talk about something else. And they're like, yeah, but I'm doing this speech and everybody, and there's going to be a question answer point, but how about you just wait? I want to talk about milk. Like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? If there's something that I'm getting wrong, then say so. But otherwise, stop pointing out how stupid you are. I'm a hypocrite. Look at this. Not another. Yep. Gotta love these rocks. Like, this is what I mean. Like, it's fascinating to me. The desperation is always just fascinating to me. And I never understand, to me, I'm all about motivation. Like, I try to understand what motivates people. What makes someone want to be the person they are, What makes you believe the way you do? I see that. And are those your thoughts, or did somebody give those thoughts to you? Do you really think that way? I always wonder this about. Do you really think the way you're talking? Like all the people that hate gay people. Oh, I hate gays so much. Like why do you hate gays? What did they do to you? Like it's always super strange to see how how people I mean, even the whole submarines thing, right? It's amazing to me that it can make so many people so mad. If these really are all these real people and not just dumb bots desperately trying to change the subject. Why? Why would anyone care? Even especially since I'm not even talking about it. Like it's like you don't understand what titles are, right? Like you don't understand that that could be the title of the podcast, if you will. But think about that. Like I'm not even talking about something, and you so desperately want me to start talking about this because it makes you mad to think that someone like me doesn't believe the same thing you do. And that's generally how it works with, you know, especially when it's dumb shit. Whenever it's something like religion or politics, the people they respond differently. There's a response, but a lot of times it's like a dumber, sharper response. You know, like they're
They're mad that their faith has to be part of it all.
right.
That they don't have anything tangible to.
Right. They're mad that they can't make a better argument. So then they it's like how
I have to have faith. You should too.
Exactly. It's like how the Trump supporter thinks, well, I support Trump, so you must support Kamala then. If you don't support Trump, you must be a Kamala supporter. And you're like, no, dude, I think the whole thing's stupid. No, you support Kamala. You're just like, it's like I can't even have the conversation. I'm not going to keep arguing this. You're not, you know, it's like we're arguing about, you know, whether watermelon is good. And you're like, I like chicken though, too. It's like, okay, but is watermelon good? Yeah, but chicken good too. I like chicken. Dude, I don't want. We're talking about watermelon. You make the arguments for why watermelon's bad, and I'm going to tell you why it's good. Like, okay, but chicken has crispy skin. What? Okay, like it's stupid. You know, it's always just strange. And I guess for me you know, I mean, with everything you have to answer the question. And so I have to answer it for myself. Who is really, like, what real people are going to do this? Do I know people like that? Because it seems like everybody I talk to, when I tell them about this shit, they're like, no way, that's weird. Right? Like, so nobody even recognizes it, let alone thinks to do it. And then you look up Team Jorge and you understand the Israeli side of things, like the cyber fucking espionage side of things, and like it always seems like, I mean, this is basically how the whole truther thing exists. It's like with 9/11, right? 9/11, they give you a narrative that you would be really hard pressed to believe. Like, you'd have to be pretty stupid to just believe the 9/11 narrative that's given to you. And yet, you know, you have to believe it. Like, that's what they tell you. You have to believe this or you're a bad American and all this other shit. The problem is, the narrative you're given just, it requires a bunch of faith. It requires that you override your common sense. It requires that, you know, in 2010, when NIST released that, their final report, and PBS did that special, and it was like the first sort of official government, this is what happened on 9/11 thing. 10 years later, some shit like that. And the computer model that they showed to represent the pancake theory showed the floors pancaking down. The problem is, on TV, you can see that the core of the building is still standing there according to the computer model. So either they animated it that way on purpose, or the computer just, they couldn't make the computer. I don't really understand how that works. They just don't care. I don't really know. But like that's one of those things where, you know, the way I'm supposed to believe makes me feel stupid. And the conspiracy narrative that I'm given seems to make a lot more sense. And then, you know, apply that both in, you know, like with all of the hindsight you have. So when you look at October 7th, 2023, and you see the false flag event that was perpetrated and then is used as this unreasonable excuse to murder, to commit genocide, you see the same actors, the same perpetrators in place. Like it you see how it's all connected. 9/11, anything that involves miserable and the Jays, they're really stupid. I just can't. Like, such a great example of this, right? The fact that they screwed up and the plane overlay went through the building. The nose of the plane went through the building, and they had to quickly black it out. And then it came, and what they say is, you know, all of that the three news stations that happen to be filming, they swear it's all from different views, but all of the news videos that were filming that happen to all have that weird blackout thing that happened after the nose seemingly pierced through the building unscathed. It went black for a bunch of frames, and then all of them, they just all happen to have that same glitch at the exact same time? Or is it that it's all just one feed and they manipulate it? They, you know, one feed is from this angle, one feed is, it's all the same camera. And they just adjust the lighting, they adjust the you know, whatever to make it look like there's different cameras filming it. A Rich Man's Trick does a really good job of explaining it. Although A Rich Man's Trick is just another one of those videos to, you know, to manipulate you. It's another CIA, FBI video. It still has some really good information in it. It can only be good if they put good information in it. That's how they get you. That's how they control you. If they give you the juicy conspiracies in this direction, well, you're just going to go in that direction. You're not going to look off to the side. The last thing you're supposed to talk about when it comes to 9/11 is the dancing Israelis. And if you look it up, you'll see articles like Snopes that'll be like, it's partially false. Yes, there were Israelis. There were men that were seen, reported to the police, having set up a tripod prior to the first plane hitting. So there's footage of that first plane hitting. And after each of those planes hit, they were seen dancing. It was reported to the police. They were arrested, then immediately put on a plane and sent back to Israel, because they were outed as Mossad, and they were went on TV and laughed about it. Yes, that happened. Were they dancing like dancing like ballroom dancing? No. So it's partially false. They weren't ballroom dancing. Like, that's the narrative that they give you. While every other plane was grounded, the Bin Ladens and the dancing Israelis were allowed to be sent home. Like, it's, and the thing is, you know, when it comes to 9/11, 9/11 is all about the distraction, right? The what they want you looking at is Tower 7. Tower 7, the Twin Towers, Tower 7, 3 buildings taken out by 2 planes, the gold, Rudy Giuliani, the fucking, the command center. He said pull it, so we pulled it. Silverstein, Larry, good old Larry Silverstein. Like, that's what you're supposed to be focused on. The real distraction, the real 9/11 story that doesn't get talked about nearly enough is the Pentagon. The Pentagon is the story that you're distracted from. The night before, Rumsfeld announces that they've lost $2.3 trillion. They just can't find it. They don't know where the fuck it is. And the next day, the place that got hit by the plane are the offices that was investigating that whole debacle and all the backups and everything that they had regarding that all of that got destroyed. What a fucking coincidence, right? I mean, right? Yeah, bud. No, it's right now. Somebody didn't charge it overnight. So it's completely dead. Like it's they released there was like 120 something cameras that were pointed at the Pentagon one way or another, whether they were security cameras, bank cameras, stoplight cameras, random gas station cameras, all these different cameras had a view of the Pentagon one way or another. And within a half an hour, all of the tapes had been confiscated by the FBI. How do you coordinate something like that? It's something completely out of the blue. It's kind of like believing that you could have a funeral with 1,000 for somebody that was killed that day. Like Samantha Wool, pulling the wool over your eyes. But just think about that. They have all these cameras and only 2 end up getting released. One is a gas station camera that shows like a plane flying in a way that it's just weird. It doesn't fit either narrative, any narrative you're given. It just shows a weird plane flying. The other one is the security, toll. What do you call that fucking thing where the arm goes down? Security, the security gate. No, I just said this to your brother, dude. Ask your brother. Jesus Christ. The toll gate thing, whatever. There's footage of it, and it just it shows like you can see that just the very, very tip of something, and then you see this white, and then the next, because the plane was going so fast, and the security camera takes a frame per second or whatever, that the actual plane itself was missed by the camera. So you see that the very, very tip of something, and then you see the explosion. The fucking, man, it just happened to miss. Oh, And the date on the footage says 9/12. But that, I mean, that's just an oversight. The number one military base in the world that we're allowed to know about. The big bad head of the fucking G.I. Joe super security. No plane should ever get close because they have secret turrets and missile guidance systems and all kinds of shit all over that motherfucker. Yeah. That place made a mistake, and their security camera footage says 9/12. But it's this, swear to God, that's from 9/11, swear to God. Totally, swear to God. Yeah, Rumsfeld was out front picking up the pieces, destroying the crime scene. The fucking, the Secretary of Defense, isn't that what he was? The Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State, whatever. One of the highest positions in government is out there picking up the pieces of a supposed plane crash with his hands and carrying them off, destroying a crime scene. Like you just don't understand how illegal that is. Here, you know what? This one's getting pretty fucked with. So let's try one more time. We'll restart and see what happens. We'll see if we can get through. Don't forget to get your free download. Link is in the description. Pedophiles, kill yourself.